Coinecta is going to be a launchpad on the Cardano blockchain. It's going to be a traditional launchpad that you're probably familiar with. So we'll launch our own token and you'll be able to stake that token. And if you reach certain tiers, staked tiers, then you'll be able to invest in projects that launch through Coinecta.
I have Marty joining me again on this podcast. It's always good to have you here, Marty. But today we're talking about Coinecta. So this is a launchpad that is building on the Cardano ecosystem. And, we do need a little bit of variety when it comes to these type of services so that people have options in regards to how they can interact and launch their projects. So, Marty, welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks for having me back.
So what is it exactly that you guys are building?
So Coinecta is going to be a launchpad on the Cardano blockchain. It's going to be a traditional launchpad that you're probably familiar with. So we'll launch our own token and you'll be able to stake that token. And if you reach certain tiers, staked tiers, then you'll be able to invest in projects that launch through Coinecta. And so what we're doing differently on Cardano, I think, is that we're giving the community an opportunity to invest in Cardano first projects. What I've noticed is that some of the other launch pads and some of the other companies that are launching on Cardano, they're often cross-chain or multi-chain. They take a lot of funds from Cardano and then they don't necessarily build their whole project on Cardano, or they build it somewhere else first and Cardano becomes sort of a second thought. And so what we wanted to do is focus specifically on Cardano because for me, it's I think it's the next evolution of blockchain. I think, Bitcoin had no smart contracts. Then Ethereum with EVM brought that into play. But then Cardano is now extending that with the EUTXO model. So, I believe in the technology, and I think that we need people who are focused specifically on bringing EUTXO into the mainstream. So that's kind of our unique proposition with Cardano, with Coinecta here.
Now, you guys have done this before. You've done it over in the Ergo system. Is that correct?
That's right. So Coinecta is a lot like ErgoPad, which is a launchpad we launched on Ergo in 2021. So we've been doing that for a little while. Obviously, the market was a little better at the time. And so it's difficult to say how things went. But we're still here. We're still building on Ergo, and we're going to build on Cardano now. And, I think the two chains really go hand in hand. One of our motivations for coming to Cardano is that some of the companies that wanted to launch through ErgoPad requested us to be able to help them launch on Cardano as well. So to me, it just made sense for us to build a platform on both. So now if a company wants to launch on both, they can raise funds on Ergo and funds on Cardano and utilize the cross-chain opportunities like Rosenbridge. And the fact that both are EUTXO makes it easy for development. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about the relationship between the two chains, Rosenbridge coming along and more people entering that ecosystem, and then projects on either side being able to tap into liquidity and users, which there already is a lot of crossover already. So I'm pretty excited about that. And it's really good to know that you guys have had quite a bit of experience with Launchpads going through this entire experience and taking projects through it as well. So that's really key there, I think.
Yeah, we'll definitely draw from our experience when we built Coinecta. A lot of the platform will use the same philosophies that in the same code structure, and we'll just have to change it for Cardano. But one thing that we've done for ErgoPad is there's vesting keys so that when you invest in a project, that team is going to release it over the correct vesting schedule because that's all done with smart contracts. So those smart contract designs translate perfectly between the two chains, and we'll use that again on the Coinecta side.
That's brilliant. Are there any other interesting features in regards to how the Launchpad will work? So we've got vesting schedules, which is always really good for people to see and know about how the token's going to be released to the users, etc. Is there anything else unique about it? Like, is certain projects that you only take on? Is there a vetting process that you guys go through for onboarding projects as well?
Yeah, we are actually, we've been speaking to the CRCI team. They do a really quantitative and qualitative analysis of projects that are launching. And then they give it a score that's represented by like a really clearly laid out schema so that, it's not just their opinion. is a little different than just taking someone's word for it. They actually dive into the details. They read the white paper, they go over the team's experience, and they quantify it all and put it into writing and show sort of exactly where they got the score from, how they derived it, and give people an opportunity to. It's kind of like do your own research, but they do the research for you, and they're actually better at it than probably a lot of us, including myself. So it's nice to have that deep dive to reference. So we're speaking to them. We'd like to partner with them as we launch Coinecta. We'd also like them to help us give a higher level analysis of the projects. And then that gives people a better idea of what they're investing in. We may even offer like a premium service. So I mentioned earlier that there's staking tiers. We were talking to them about maybe offering a premium, more extensive analysis to the higher tier Coinect tokens holders. So that's all in talks. So it'll be nice to see how that plays out.
All right, brilliant. That sounds really good, especially when someone else can do a very detailed, high-level analysis of projects before you need to do a lot of it as well. Of course, you should always do your own research as well and dive deep into the projects, the community, and everything else around it. Things do change, so it's always important to do your own research along whatever you're speculating in. So in regards to having those projects onboarded, do you guys do any help with tokenomics or legals or anything around those aspects to help these projects launch? Also DEX listings as well. So there's so much to launching a token, not just the sale process itself and vesting schedules. There's working out a good tokenomics and getting it actually listed in the ecosystem. Do you guys provide any help or services around that?
We do provide basic tokenomics consulting while we work with projects to launch their IDO. And then if you do need more extensive help, or if you need to hire developers or help with marketing beyond what we do, just as our Launchpad, we can always consult for those services. In terms of getting DEX listings on Ergo through ErgoPad, we're the ones that add the liquidity, but we're happy to help projects make those connections with the DEXs and make sure their tokens launch in the correct place. It's tough when you have so many choices on Cardano. There's a lot of strong DEX contenders out there, right? So, you don't want to spread your liquidity too thin. So that's something we look at in terms of the tokenomics is, do you add some kind of yield farm? Where do you put that yield farm? And where do you put the most of your liquidity, or do you spread it out? So those are all things that we'll discuss with each team and determine based on their specific details.
Yeah, it's definitely hard in the Cardano ecosystem. It's a couple of really strong DEXs, or more than a couple. There's quite a few strong DEXs with strong communities in themselves. So if you choose one, others will be like, why not this one?
That's right.
You got tribalism inside tribalism. What about? Yeah, it's terrible. What about fees? So these projects be launching on your platform. I'm assuming there's a fee because you're doing marketing, you're doing promotions, you'll be doing AMAs and everything else around it. What's the fee structure for projects coming on board?
We typically charge a percentage of the funds raised. And also we'll be handling things like KYC, which comes with a cost through a third party that, they have the better security protocols in place that we can't match. So we utilize a third party just because people's data is very, it's a sensitive thing and we don't want to take that responsibility. It's better to pay the professionals. So, all those things cost money. There's a lot of preliminary things that take place for an IDO, but that's typically included in the scope of the percentage of funds raised. And with certain projects, we'll take a deposit in the beginning. So we can discuss with each project on a case-by-case basis. And then for the users, we don't pass the fees along to the end user. So if you're investing in these projects, you get what the value is. You don't have to worry about fees on your end.
Now, with all of this, when are you going to launch this Launchpad? Have you guys written any of the smart contracts yet for the vesting schedules and the purchasing of the tokens and anything like that? What's the timeline looking like before we'll be able to use the Launchpad or projects can start approaching you?
We've been working hard on getting a corporation registered. So we've been working with the jurisdiction El Salvador because of their new crypto laws. But unfortunately, because the laws are so new, the frameworks aren't really well established on how you can get your license and how you can issue a token. So as far as I know, based on what our lawyers are saying, we're very close to having our virtual asset service provider license. And that allows us to sell tokens for third parties and pretty much do anything crypto related, including transfer fiat for crypto or crypto to crypto transfers for third parties. And they're still establishing a framework for us to be able to launch our own token, which is interesting, that they're allowing us to sell tokens for others, but not for ourselves. So because that framework is still kind of underway, we don't have a set deadline for that. But because these things are taking such a long time, we're also looking to other jurisdictions to enable us to launch our own token. So we have some lawyers on the case. They're working on finding the best path for us to get there. But we're thinking this is the next couple of months, but we don't actually know exactly how long it'll take. And then as far as the code is concerned, we've built a lot of the framework already. And once we're able to launch our own token, the rest will be shortly after, within probably weeks or if not a month, 2 at the max.
Now, in terms of users getting into contact with you and potentially launching their token, or at least getting on a wait list until you guys get all the legals in order, what's the best method of contact?
Actually, if you go to our website, coinecta.fi, you can fill out the form now. It's near the bottom of the page. You can apply for an IDO. And also in the footer there, under support, you can apply for IDO. And that allows you to fill out a form with the details of your project. More details you have, the better. We'd like to see a white paper. We want to know, who's on the team and what's their experience, things like that. So, and also your time frame and how much you'd like to raise. So teams that are interested, feel free to apply now and we can start the discussion. And then as soon as we're ready, we'll start lining it up. I think probably my instinct tells me that probably the most we'd like to do is 1 per month. So once we're ready, it'll be good to line up the first few months of projects. So feel free to apply now and get in line so that you don't have to wait 6 months or longer.
So awesome, Marty. You've taken us through everything around Coinecta, and I'm pretty excited to have more of these options in the Cardano ecosystem so everyone can start launching their projects. You'll probably be in time for the next bull run as well. Fingers crossed there's the next bull run. So, all this stuff sounds really good, and I really hope more projects start launching through your platform as well.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Yeah, hopefully the timing is right. It's better than with ErgoPad, where we were right on the tail end of that bull market. So it'd be nice to see it go the other direction.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks, Marty.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast. Gotta get it hype. Crypto is what we like, but this is not investment or financial advice. Gotta do your research, cause it's risky. We know it is. This show is educational and it's informative. Crypto's the future, really, it ain't no debate.